Yeah, this is more of a sad test. Ok, vediamo se adesso not that one. Cosa succede, Nadia? Oh, she is the best. I don't know what's happening, but I'm pretty sure this is stupid. Ok, chiudi. Vieni qui. Why are you black? Questa secondo me è una gran cacchiata. Oh, finalmente! I can see the light. Kinda. Good. Oh, c'è sempre stata la luce? Vabbè, fa niente. Ok. Eravamo con questa cosa. It's the catch-22, they have to fight, but none of them has to die. The essential butterfly, the essential constituent element, cioè the splitting up into extremes of opposite dominant things, disappears from the play of change, and the middle term collapsing at the unity, broken up into dead extremities, which merely exist as a given being and are not opposed to one another in, by, and for an action which tries to do away with another to establish itself and to establish itself but doing away with the other. Nor do they get themselves back, return for one another through consciousness. On the contrary, they merely have one another free, indifferently as things. For the dead man is no longer anything more than an unconscious thing, from which the living man turns away in indifference, since he can no longer expect anything from it for himself. The murderous action is abstract negation. It is not negation carried out by consciousness, which overcomes in such a way that it keeps and preserves the overcome entity and, for that very reason, survives the fact of being overcome. This overcoming is dialectical. To overcome dialectically means overcome or preserve what is overcome, to be it is sublimated and by that overcoming which preserves, and that preserve which will overcomes. The dietetic overcome entities are null and the contingent stripped of sensuous aspect of natural given immediate entity, but it is preserved in its essential and meaningful significant aspect as mediated by negation. It is sublimated and raised up in a more comprehensible mode of being. Then it is immediate reality or pure and simple, positive and static given, which is not the result of creative action. It is of action that negates the given. Uh, so basically, I always wonder and try to understand how much psychologically does Hegel, how much psychology and psychological needs that Hegel capture when I read this guy and I read Kojéve, because this is, I don't know like what's the chicken and what came first. What came first? Came first psychology, came first Hegel's. This understanding of recognition resonates deeply emotionally, in the sense that it is not a logical necessity unless you accept as logical the emotional necessity. Let's just start with that. This is a psychological emotional need. The need to be recognized is not first logical, then natural, it's not biological. It's this emotional, human emotional need, as Hegel describes, to be recognized as who you are. To be recognized as who you are depends on the fact that someone else recognizes you as who you are. Who you are is what happens when you state I am A, someone outside of you exists and you force him to state that I am A. And I don't know how much it's clear how much this is a psychological need and not in any case like a logical analysis. This is a syllogistic process and not a judgment. So I know that this is in Hegel, I remember it, but in Hegel it was much more, I felt it a bit more historical, in the sense that it felt as part of this big history of spirit that started by itself, but and acquired recognition and acquired like the acquired characteristic was part of this narration of a subject, the creation of a subject that goes from body to everything basically. But here that it's isolated, it feels psychological. It feels the part when you are growing up and you need people to see the way you see yourself, so you fight for that recognition. You scream for that recognition. The moment when you say, okay, but I am this, and you have to tell me that I am this. This need when you seek recognition from someone, you want them to recognize you, but that someone has to be as a position in your emotional space that grants them power to recognize you. And it's interesting how much it feels like a emotion now. Okay, this stream is doomed. I have had to call someone, and